your thoughts.
First of all, I want to congratulate Texas. That was a great college basketball game. I think both teams acquitted themselves very well. On behalf of our university, especially the Iowa State women's basketball team, I want to thank the Big 12 and the people of Kansas City. Amazing event, best college tournament in the country, and probably the last thing for me is I really could not be more proud of our team. I love this team. I love what they're about. I love what they represent, and I think anyone who appreciates young people and appreciates young people's effort and appreciates young people who do it right saw a team today that they should become huge fans of because they did it right. They always have. They've done it all year, and just looking forward to going home and seeing what they say tomorrow.
Okay, we'll take questions from the floor. If you put your hand up, we'll get a microphone to you. We got a question on the front. Again, if you're going to ask both of the student athletes, please be sure to indicate which one first.
Tommy Birch from the Des Moines Register. This for Ashley, Lexi, and Bill. Just were you guys expecting, I guess, based off of how the previous two games in Texas, that type of physicality and that type of intense matchup today?
Yeah, I think anytime you play Texas, it's going to be a physical game. So you just have to prepare for it, and you have to be aggressive as well and just really battle.
Yeah, I think a big thing was we had to try to match the physicality when we were on defense, which is tough to do because they're really, really physical and strong on defense. That's a big focus of ours.
Got a question over on the outside aisle? Just a second.
Rob Gray, Cedar Rapids Gazette for Ashley and Lexi. It seemed you guys made so many winning type plays in that game, whether it be Jordal's block or she matches the three that Harmon puts up. Do you take a lot of heart in that as you head in? You're going to host hopefully a couple games from your perspective, and that you really, every time they punched, you punched back?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. It's a fight. You got to stick your nose in there and stay in there. So if they hit a big shot, you got to come down, make a play, and get some defensive stops. And I think we did a really good job of that today, and we just got to learn how to finish some games.
It's fun being on such an unselfish team where we do share the ball, and we are happy for each other when a different person steps up and makes a big shot like what you talked about.
We have a question in the front.
Connor Ferguson from Cyclone Fanatic. For all three of you guys, kind of all year, it's kind of been Iowa State is going to beat this team, or there's a physical matchup, and Baylor and Texas have gotten the brunt of you. Do you think today you kind of proved that you can compete with teams like that match up like that with you?
Yeah, we just have to, like I said, stick our nose in there and hang in there. If they make a big play or anything, we got to get a defensive stop, come on the other end, make a big play. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that, and we just got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we have struggled with some physical teams in the past, but I think Emily still played great today and really came off ball screens well, and that controlled a lot of our offense.
And that was Lexi. We have another question on the front.
Bill, I was kind of wondering, it seemed like over time, kind of a different flip, maybe switch for Texas. What were they kind of pulled away, obviously? What do you think kind of changed there?
Well, I think a couple things. We made a couple defensive mistakes. They got the ball going downhill on us a couple times, and we didn't rotate a couple times. Harmon hit some big shots, and then we missed a couple shots around the basket that, in an overtime game, it swings quickly. And to their credit, they hit a couple really tough ones, and we didn't, maybe make the shot that we needed to make. But that's an overtime game, and usually it takes one or two shots that swings it. So, and unfortunately for us tonight, they hit the shots.
Jeff Dubroff, KCCI in Des Moines for Ashley and Lexi. Texas is a team in the previous two matchups that got the best of y'all today. Much closer game. What in y'all's mind do you think was the difference to allow it to be closer rather than what we saw in the first two games?
Yeah, I think we just we had to believe in ourselves and that we could compete with them. And we went out there and gave it everything we had. So I think that definitely made a big difference.
Yeah, I think we had to change our mentality, and I think we did a good job of that. And we just came out more ready to play today, more ready to put up a fight.
Question on that.
For Bill, it seemed like you really got on track offensively in the game by driving the basketball, getting a lot of points in the paint, and then it opened things up from three. I mean, where you hit really well all night. I mean, how do you feel like offensively you played?
I thought offensively we were pretty good. I really do. Like, against a good defensive team. You know, we had our share of turnovers. The third quarter started poorly. But other than that, I mean, we got the ball in the lane for the most part. Our decision making was good. We made the shots that we needed to make. You know, we tried hard to get to the free throw line. We couldn't do that, but we shot it really well. And I think that's something we haven't done against Texas in the past. We opened up the court. Ash and Lex hit some big threes when we really needed them, and so I think offensively we were fine. I have no problem with our execution, considering who we were playing and what we were getting into.
Question on the front right.
So I was just kind of wondering, now that you do turn the page to the NCAA tournament, after the last couple of days, how do you feel about where you guys are heading into that stage into the season?
I guess I would say I couldn't be more excited to hear what happens on Sunday. This team has been been beyond a joy for me. And at this point in my career, you don't get that very often. And the good news is, you know, I'm heartbroken we don't get to play tomorrow, but we're going to play again. And I would not want to be around any other people than these guys and the way they conduct themselves. And I can't tell you how many people in Kansas City walked up to me and said, "Hey, Coach, we love your team, the way they act, the way they play, the way they conduct themselves, the way they represent." And they weren't all Iowa State fans. I had 4 parents today of kids who were in other teams in our league who complimented these guys. Not on how they play, but how they act and how they represent their school. So I'm beyond excited to find out what happens on Sunday.
We got a question there, and we'll come over.
What is it about this group that makes you so happy to be around them and kind of brings out that emotion that we're seeing right now, as opposed to
They
that
just
sets them apart?
no, it's just the way that they've believed and bought into what Iowa State is about, and the way they show up every day, and how much they care about the jersey that they're wearing. We don't have names on the back of our jerseys, and we're not gonna. That's not what we're about. And we're about being connected. We're about representing our fans, representing our school. And as a coach, you go in every day and you're like, this is what we need to get done, not just on the court, but off the court. And this team has done it as well, if not better, than any team I've ever been around. I wouldn't trade for anybody, anyone, anytime. It's an absolute honor to say I coach this team.
Question on the front left. And this is going to be the final question.
Mitchell Hope with ESPN.com. Bill, I swear I'm not asking this as an officiating to get you in trouble question. That's not where I'm coming from. But Jeff Mittie said last night, freedom of movement is something that frustrates him in terms of how inconsistently it seems to be called. In your experience, does that get better or worse in the NCAA
There's no such thing
tournament?
as freedom of movement. No such thing.
So it's going to stay probably just as bad in the NCAA tournament?
It's going to get worse. I mean, I'm not. There just isn't any. And anyone who says there is doesn't understand the game. And that's not my decision. There is no freedom of movement in the game of basketball on the women's side. Zero. It is what it is. I'm not complaining. That's the answer to the question.
Okay,